All right, everybody, this is Michael with Infinit Nutrition, and today we have a very special guest, actually a couple of guests today. We have, we got multiple people on the podcast today, so this is awesome. Number one, we have Colin Raleigh, who's our head nutritionist here at Infinit Nutrition, and his racing partner, Owen Cravens, who is currently sitting trackside down in Arizona in 120-degree heat. So we very much appreciate you being here, Owen.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So seriously, you are right next to the track. You just got done with a track workout, right?
Yeah, it was a good one today. It was total of over 7K on the track, so pretty good session in the heat and getting heat acclimated.
Nice. What kind of distances are you doing when you're doing that?
Yeah, we started out with a 3K tempo, so right around 5:40 pace for 3K, and then onto a mile at 4:50 to 5:10 pace, and then onto a 1200 around the same pace, and then onto two 800s at VO2 pace, so a little bit above 450 pace for the 12 or for the 800s, and then onto some 150 builds from the curve onto the straights.
That's incredibly impressive. Well, we'll get back a little bit more towards where you're currently racing. And you started, now Colin was kind of bringing me up to speed as far as you and your history. You're a Chicago guy, and I did not know that.
Yeah, I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, about 40 minutes outside of the city, and got some pretty good suburban life. So.
And so you were a triathlete early. Did you do any other sports, or did you just happen to be a triathlete and that's kind of what you were all about?
Yeah, I grew up actually before I lost my vision. I played soccer at a pretty competitive level. My father was a college soccer player, so he kind of passed it down onto me. Grew up doing that until the age of around 13 is when I started losing my vision, and I switched fully over to some of my other side hobbies, which were running and swimming. So it kind of just happened to fall right into place, and me and my sister started racing triathlon together, and it went on from there. I raced non-para for a few years, and then eventually it got pretty difficult for me to ride the bike by myself. I would get lost on the bike course and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I eventually found an organization who introduced me to the sport of paratriathlon.
Very cool. And so
go ahead,
Colin.
We were talking a little bit about the MMTT team and just how it's kind of been like a little hotbed of, really good athletes out of the Chicago area.
Yeah, I got really, really lucky with the place that I grew up in. I trained with a club triathlon team about 25 minutes away from my house, which was a starting place for many pro triathletes, including Ben Canute and Kevin McDowell and Chase McQueen. So we got some pretty good talent out of one central area, and it's the only in-person triathlon club in the nation who's developed this amount of good athletes.
That's amazing. And where's that based at? Is that Naperville or where is that?
It's based out of St. Charles, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And where's the swimming based out of?
We would all swim locally. So we swam at St. Charles East High School. Mm-hmm. And I eventually moved out of there and moved to Arizona to start schooling. And then eventually found myself here at Project Podium.
That's amazing. And then you got introduced with Colin so you went from Chicago to Arizona to Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And to Arizona State, and Colin somehow fits in this mix somewhere.
Yeah, Colin's kind of been like the OG guide. He's guided some of the best triathletes in the world, and we got introduced from a mutual friend / one of Colin's old athletes, and we went on from there. Raced in I think California was our first race together. I could be wrong, but we raced all around the world together and had some pretty amazing times.
That's very cool. So where you've raced, what was your favorite venue that you've been to so far?
Oh, there's so many. I think probably the coolest place we've been to is Abu Dhabi the first year. It was just so new to us both. We've never been to a place so different. and we got to experience like the culture there, especially in Japan, just like going out and experiencing what it's like in these different countries that not many people get to go visit.
Yeah, those were going to be my two picks. I was trying to go back and forth between those two. The first race in Abu Dhabi, that was 2021. Yeah, that was just like, totally new, just traveling halfway across the world. And then I had been to Yokohama once before with another athlete, but the year that we raced, which would have been last year, 2022, it was, pouring rain the entire race. And it was just like don't crash the bike, just there's, paint lines all over the road. So it was just a very like, okay, be cautious on the bike and then, hammer the run. And we had a really solid race there. So
what's it like when you guys I kind of envision this sort of like a Match.com type of thing that you guys are almost starting to date. Because there's a limited field. You got AP, Potts, you got Colin, and then you've got talent. How do you guys match up? Is it person? For Colin or Owen, I'm kind of interested in you. Is this how much of it was personality? How much it was he's fast? How much was his OG? What was it that kind of makes the relationship work?
I think all three of those, especially in this time in my professional triathlon career, is finding someone who's able to keep up with me in swimming. It's been a pretty hard part, but Colin had no issues with that. Also, one thing that's like so overlooked is just experience and knowing what to do when things go wrong and handling yourself and staying composed. I think that's a huge part of triathlon. Some people find themselves getting frustrated, me including, and making some mistakes that don't necessarily have to be made. And having someone there like Colin to like reassure it is a huge part, especially in the development of an athlete's career and professionalism during the race.
How has obviously through Colin's stewardship, but how, you're still young in your career.
Yeah.
How has it evolved over just the last couple of years of, transition and different coaches and all those influences? What have you learned and really evolved?
I think one thing that's different for my situation versus my like teammates and stuff that are close to my age is just being around older people, especially like Colin and people that I race against. Having their professionalism, it kind of bleeds onto me, and just understanding the sport at a different level and having a different level of maturity, it helps so much. It's very underappreciated how much maturity can help you in your own professional career.
Understand. Now you've worked with Colin for a while on your nutrition. What's your kind of day-to-day race day plan? I'd love to hear about kind of how you look at nutrition both inside of racing and outside of racing, and what Colin's done with you on that.
Yeah, I've been working like for the past 2 years of just really dialing nutrition in. I think it's extremely overlooked, especially in sprint distance, Olympic distance triathlon. People say it's just an hour race, but like it's not just an hour race. It's an hour race of hard effort, and you have to sustain yourself for that. And that comes pre-race, mid-race, and after sessions leading into the races. And Colin really brought me a bunch of knowledge when it comes to nutrition for racing, something that not many people get to experience. And I basically lived with him for the races that we went to. So his professionalism and his experience really helped me get to a point where I kind of understand my own nutrition.
And I feel like, too, training at the Olympic Training Center last year, and then now with Project Podium, you're training essentially as a full-time athlete. Can you talk just a little bit about kind of not just like outside of races, just kind of day to day? Obviously, like just coming off of a huge track workout, you got to be feeling your body, not just, from Infinit, but just kind of in general.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing that I've realized in the past like few months with this high intensity training is that you really have to fuel yourself before and after, because if you're doing 3 workouts a day, you need to have those calories stored up from the beginning of the day to sustain yourself through the day. without like having to take naps and stuff like that to recover, especially when the sessions are close together.
Yeah.
And what do you typically target? What are you targeting for recovery? I mean, app posted like hard workout today. You did 7K, 5 minute or sub. I mean, what are you doing to recover? Obviously, you're not recovering now when you probably should be out doing recovery.
I probably should be. I should be on my cool down right now, but it's important for me to get out here and talk to you guys. That's my priority, is just like spreading experience and stuff like that. Typically, I would be on my 2.5 mile cool down right now. Very, very, very light effort, just flushing the legs from lactate buildup. And then almost immediately after, getting some sort of high protein, high carb drink or food, preferably within 20 minutes. And then later in the day, I have a swim session at 4 p.m. So I'll get a big meal in probably around 2, just so I can digest it and get it in before the hard swim. And then before I go to bed, I usually try to get a high protein. I don't know the specific type of protein. You probably know what it is, Colin. That's better for nighttime metabolization, something like that. I don't know what the specific name of it is called, but
yeah, we usually, I think you've got the whey on the immediately post workout, and then the repair blend is kind of the one that we usually go with for the nighttime. Just it's got that casein, a little bit slower digesting protein in it. So that's always a nice one for the nighttime blend.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Just like the little things, like making sure you get enough food. Some people like stress that they're gonna have issues digesting it, but digestion is a tolerance thing, and you have to build up with getting in food before your sessions, and like letting your body get used to digesting it while working out and exercising to sustain yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So of your career, your short career so far, what would you say is your highlight?
Honestly, it may be, I don't know if it's yet to come, but I think one that sticks out to me is just coming off of like a semester at college, not really training much, and then getting the opportunity to go be at World Championships for the first time. I got an invite, and just really pushing myself for like a solid month of hard training alone, and then turning out and getting 5th place at World Championships was pretty cool. And traveling to Abu Dhabi for the first time, I think that's probably my biggest highlight so far. But I think the big ones are yet to come.
Did you, when you're lining up to start to swim, in your head, are you thinking I got a shot at top 5? Or did
no, I had no idea.
Really?
I didn't know anyone that I was racing. Colin knew probably most of the people that we were racing, but I couldn't name a single one. And I was new to this whole thing. I was new to high performance training and stuff like that. So it was kind of just like, let's just give it all we got and see how it turns out. And it turned out working pretty well. We had a phenomenal bike. We biked down everyone, had like a top 3 bike split, and was able to hold off most people on the run.
What's your strength?
I think now my strength is swimming. I've made huge leaps. I've improved my swim by a large margin, especially in the past 3-4 months, training with people that are significantly faster than me in the water, and trying to match myself. I think one part of training that's overlooked is surrounding yourself with elite athletes, people that are way better than you, and seeing the little things that they do to make themselves better, and learning from that. You're just as good as the people that you're around. And I definitely can see that. Even today, I was running with some of the best junior U23 men in the nation. And I was keeping up with them on the track, and just pushing myself to that different level and holding myself at different standards, because just because I have a vision impairment doesn't mean I can't race them in and out of practice and compare myself to them. Because when you compare yourself to people that you race against, you can get complacent and complacent with your times. And these guys have raced some of the best in the world, and comparing myself to them pushes me to a different level.
Yeah, and that's so true. That's not disparaging against your fellow athletes out there. That's just saying numerically, if you got just in terms of numbers, if you go out and run against runners, you're going to run up against the guys that are really fast. So talk to us about state and the team and what that's kind of done for your career.
Yeah, Project Podium is an amazing group of guys. One focus for this season is just culture and maintaining a great group of guys and having that synergy between us, and having positive attitudes in and out of practice has been a huge focus for us recently. And just having people that you can lean on when you're having hard sessions, and having people that can push you has really improved me and myself and my image for the sport.
For somebody that doesn't know, what is Project Podium all about?
Project Podium is a professional triathlon team inside the U.S. It's a very small group of guys, and we're all under the age of 24-ish, 18 to 24, and we all train at a high performance level. We do online school through Arizona State University, and we utilize all the facilities here. And it's a daily training environment. As a group, we go and do different camps, training camps together. And pretty much we all have the same goals. It's an Olympic Paralympic development team. So just searching for that medal that hasn't come for the men yet in the sport of triathlon in the Olympics. So that's kind of like what the goal of the program is to develop the next Olympians for the U.S.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Colin, do you have any questions at all?
Yeah, no, I was just, when he was talking about keeping up with, some of these, like able-bodied, guys on the track. I mean, I think some people think paratriathlon and think, it's like, I don't know, just like a lesser athletes to some degree, or, but I mean, a lot of these guys, I mean, including Owen, are phenomenal athletes. And I think, thinking about like just the blind, visually impaired triathletes, let alone, some of the track athletes that are out there as well. Just some of the guys that we've gone head to head against. I mean, these are some very elite, very fast individuals. And I think that, I don't know if you have any like comments around that, Owen, but that was just kind of like, I don't know, one little thought that I had.
Yeah, one of my good friends and competitors, Sam Harding, is a 3:51 1500 runner. Ran in Tokyo, or qualified for the Tokyo Games, but got sick in track and field. He's a phenomenal athlete, picked up triathlon in the past couple of years, and has been swimming very, very well and biking very well, and made huge leaps. And also in my category in track and field in Tokyo, the guys in the 1500 were running faster than the able-bodied athletes in the 1500. So it's really overlooked, especially in my category, just the talent that's there.
That's amazing. What's your time in Olympic as paired up?
I've never done an Olympic distance. I'm not planning on doing anything above a sprint. It's not really my strong suit. But yeah, only in para we only do sprint distance, thankfully.
Got it. All right. Well, I learned something today.
Yeah.
What's your best mile time?
I ran a 4:37 in high school. I ran 4:58 today on the track in the workout. So it's probably around like 4:35, 4:34, something like that.
What's your best like 100 yard or 100 meter?
I have no idea. Not fast.
What do you swim 1500 in?
We do our 750. I'm right around that sub 10 point right now. I swam a 10:07 in Australia in choppy cold water. So probably around like a 950, something like that for 750 meter.
That's amazing.
I guess kind of going off of that, just how did the first couple races of the season go, and then kind of like what's ahead for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I started off my season Sarasota, pretty lax start list, so was able to do my thing in the swim, soloed the bike, and then kind of recovered for the run because I was racing the next weekend in Australia, so I had to travel around the world. but yeah, we raced Australia. We had a great race. Came out 45 seconds in the swim ahead of Sam, my Australian competitor. We biked we put about 2.5 minutes on Sam on the bike. So we were going to the run with above a 3-minute gap. But we did a extra lap on the bike on accident. Just some miscommunication, stuff that you learn from doing the sport together. So yeah, we had a pretty good chance of winning. I mean, we were going to win, but just those little mistakes that you got to learn from. And me and Colin have had those mistakes in the past, and you just got to learn from those mistakes and carry on to the next race.
That's awesome.
And what's kind of coming up over the next few months or so, or year?
Yeah. In May 6th or 7th, I think I'm traveling over to Yokohama for the second series race of the year. Hoping to win it. I think it's a very winnable race. Racing one of my other key competitors from Great Britain. And yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Really focusing on sports science going into this race, managing lactate throughout the race, not biking too hard, jeopardizing my run potential, because I've jeopardized my run potential in the past by biking too hard. I'm right around the sub 17 pace right now. It's very manageable, but I just got to make sure I don't build up too much lactate on the bike and able to run to my ability.
How many key guys are out there that you got to beat on in the big A races?
Yeah, so World Championships, Paris Test event are going to be the big races this year. Everyone will be there, so we'll have the top 9 guys are all within 2 minutes of each other. So it's very jumbled up in that top 9 position. And those top 9 guys will be the ones going to the Paralympic Games. So, yeah, Spain has got some very good athletes, Australia, Great Britain, France. And then the US is on the rise. Me and Kyle are gonna turn some heads going into the games, especially me training with a new group and getting some new experiences and doing all the little things that add up to becoming a good athlete.
If I was a betting man, I would put a couple of dollars on you as my pony. I will tell you, with the kind of training that you're doing right now, it sounds pretty like your game's gonna. I'm just worried about whether Colin's going to be able to keep up with you or not.
Well, he's going with some other guys going forward. So
yeah.
That's good, because that way Colin's here at work, and when Colin goes Colin goes to Abu Dhabi, that means we all have to work harder. So we're glad that Colin's here.
Yeah, Colin's great. He's definitely the best guide out there, best experienced guide out there. And he brought me to a new level in my athletic career. So like, I can't praise him enough. He's phenomenal mind and phenomenal athlete.
That's very cool. And that community, is it pretty? I mean, I imagine you guys probably all know each other, right? You've raced against each other. Are you friendly with these guys? Do you stay in touch with them?
Yeah, all the guys that I'm competitive with, we all hang out. We all talk to each other.
That's awesome. That's
me and Sam have gotten really close in the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He came and stayed at my house with my parents last year, and he'll probably come over to the States this year and hang out with us a little bit. So we've developed a really good friendship and something that is outside of the sport, which is really what I wanted. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's a good spot to leave it, Owen. I can't say how much we appreciate, both you and Colin taking the time and hanging out, and best of luck. We'll all be watching you at Worlds.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you so much.